My one trade setup for life, July 24, 2025. This recording is being done the following day, the Friday, the July 25th. So I've been monitoring Russell, ES, and NQ just because one of these pairs gives me a better market structure. And so for the Thursday, we highlighted Wednesday's PM session highs and lows. Just a recap on the market here, we had a Tuesday classic reversal for an expansion move higher. So going into Thursday, we had a Wednesday very bullish day. We expected some type of a bullish movement as well. This is more evident, this is more clear on NQ and ES. So Wednesday we have bullish day. Thursday we expected some type of bullishness, not without retracing though, because on Thursday we can anticipate London to reverse, meaning come down into these discounted areas and then move higher, another expansion move higher, at least in the AM or PM session on Thursday. Like one of these sessions has to give us that reversal, and then possibly a TGIF Friday. So that was the weekly analysis there. This was more evident on NQ and ES, and ES especially because ES was the bullish pair among the three. So going into Thursday, we anticipated a bullish move up. And the way I looked at the market was the fact that we needed to get liquidity. When this gap opened, right, when this from where we stopped trading to where we opened at 9:30, I wanted to see how this gap was reacted. Now this gap was more prominent on NQ and Russell, not so much on ES. So there again, so market closure here, gap down. We right away filled that gap in, and then not at 9:30, 10 o'clock, we filled that gap in, right? On Russell, we failed to do that. So this is where I started formulating a trade idea. So I knew from these conclusions, the first half an hour or so, I would say first 25 minutes, I had an idea that Russell was the weakest because it failed to close in that gap. ES was the strongest pair because it didn't have much gap and it took the highs on the AM session, so this was very bullish. And NQ was the second weakest. It failed to take the high, it closed in the gap as well, and it created an SMT on the highs here with ES. So these highs from the PM session Wednesday was intact. ES made that high, took that high, whereas Russell didn't even get close to it. It went into the midpoint of the gap and started to give me a trade idea. Now the trade idea is the fact that because the Russell was so bearish, the idea was the fact that we rejected from there on 1 minute chart. We start formulating our trade ideas based on 1 minute chart. So rejection, an order block there, changing the state of delivery there with this candle at 9:54, and then we left equal lows here. Equal lows, I wanted to see how we can retrace back. So we have a fair value gap there, an order block there. So the trade idea came that we have an existing pool of liquidity at PM session lows, and we are at a premium area here. So that's where the trade idea come from on Russell. And I entered a trade around 10 o'clock, right at 10 o'clock, 10:01, and then flushed down into this PM session lows. So the idea is that if you're going to be participating in the manipulation into this liquidity pool, which is a bearish move, you want to take the play on the pair that's the weakest. So according to my analysis, Russell was the weakest. So take this sell on the weakest pair. Some things to highlight here is we had ES, we took the high on the morning PM sessions high at 9:30 or so. NQ failed to take that, but where do we end up from there? So we knew we were going to have a push lower. Where can NQ possibly go? Because this is not the weakest pair, the PM session liquidity for NQ resides all the way down here. If we're going to have a bullish move up, NQ most likely is not going to take these low from here. It's most likely going to take the fair value gap, which is in the form of liquidity as well, right? So we have internal range liquidity here. It did not take the external range liquidity like Russell did, right? So external range liquidity, Russell took that. NQ did not take external range liquidity. It took internal range liquidity here, and ES didn't do any of that. So maybe ES created a short-term low here, but did not take any form of discounted internal range liquidity. Yes, it took the external range liquidity on the top, and then it did not take any type of internal range liquidity for this range here. A couple of the learning opportunities for AM session. Before we get into that, I just wanted to show that the NQ came into this fair value gap on 15-minute chart, which is a little bit more prominent here. So it came into that 15-minute fair value gap. So a couple of the learning objectives or learning opportunities that I had is that ES was obviously the stronger pair, and I kept looking for short because I thought that ES would come back into this midpoint where it was this fair value gap. When this drop down happened at 10 o'clock, I thought the market was still pushed down and maybe come down into here, not realizing that NQ had already done that in this fair value gap, and ES doesn't necessarily have to do that. So learning opportunities there between these two pairs. And finally, I wanted to show how this measure move can take place. So ES was the strongest pair. So if you measure the manipulation down, right? This was the manipulation down here. These candles caused the prices to go down, right? So measure move of 2 is right here, which we hit, right? For Russell, the way I measured the short was this measured mode, this manipulation higher, right? This was the manipulation. So this is a tight consolidation here, manipulation higher. So that measured that move, and to give me that's 2 and 2.5 right in here, which fell in line with New York PM sessions low that we 2.5. So in closing, I like to say that when taking short, when participating, so you can participate in the one trade setup for life in 2 different ways. If you're anticipating a manipulation lower at 9:30, right? So you're expecting the AM session to be a bearish session because it's going to manipulate the previous sessions or previous days liquidity, right? It needs to grab liquidity. So there's 2 ways to participate in this from a trading aspect, from a trader standpoint. The one would be to participate in this manipulation lower. So you would look for ways to get inside with the market into this manipulation lower. But the market is overall bullish because of this weekly profile. So another way to participate would be to wait for this manipulation to happen, right? And then once we get to this manipulated area and you see some type of a divergence or some type of clues that the market wants to go higher, wants to rip higher, you can be on side with the market and participate in this bullish move higher. So when I took this short on Russell, I lost track of my overall trend of the market. So because we made this push lower here, I kept looking for short on other markets as well, forgetting or whatever it was, maybe the live market anxiety or whatever it was. I kept looking at short for the whole entire AM session, not realizing that it could be a small drop, lower manipulation followed by rip higher. And I think the better move for me would have been to get long here and then obviously take profits above PM sessions high. So some keys to take away: don't lose sight of your overall market. Yes, you can participate in the manipulation, but know and be able to switch your mindset when it times to go long, when it time comes to go long. So be able to shift your mindset was something that I struggled with for Thursday.